It's a Friday, and we're talking football non-stop. All football, all the time. This is another edition of Football Friday with Jake Scott and Ben Anderson on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Jake and Ben, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Jake Scott, Ben Anderson. Thank you for making us a part of your day. How's it going over there, Ben?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Do you often wear a watch? You're wearing a watch today. For those people watching on YouTube or KSLSports.com, what's going on?
I always wear this watch.
You're stepping it up? Really? You always wear it and I'm just now noticing?
Well, I wear it a lot during the season.
Oh. Okay. All right. I always wanted to be a watch person, and I'm just not.
I had an Apple Watch, the whatever it's called, and I broke it skateboarding, so I swore off wearing that watch forever because it's broken, and I wasn't going to replace it and buy a new one. But I do like watches, and I particularly like really cheap watches because I felt bad about breaking my one better watch. So I really like crappy $15 to $20 watches because if I lose it, I don't care. It's the same feeling I have about sunglasses. I know you like a good pair of sunglasses. This is my one watch that cost more than $15.
I had a
Charlie Brown, Great Pumpkin.
I had a bad experience as with watches as a kid. Mm-hmm. Not like tragic, but randomly unlucky. How about that?
Okay.
I got a watch for my birthday, and I was pretty stoked about it. And I lost it.
Yeah.
Like a couple of weeks in, lost it. And my parents felt so bad for me. They were like, okay, we'll replace the watch. That day, I'm wearing the watch on my right hand.
Wrong hand, but okay.
But I'm left-handed.
Yeah, that's true. That makes sense.
On my right wrist. And my right hand is in my baseball glove, and I'm at baseball practice. Uh-huh. And I'm standing in the pop fly line. So, if you've ever been on a team, you just stand there and wait for your turn to catch pop flies. So I'm standing in line. And I'm just chatting with somebody. I'm not paying any sort of attention. The coach hits a errant pop fly, not where he wanted it to go. And I'm not even looking. It hits me, I'm not kidding, right in the watch. I got to replace that day.
And broke it again?
And it broke.
Yeah.
It hit like it didn't even hurt me or anything. It didn't hit my arm.
Yeah.
It didn't hit my glove. It hit right on the watch.
Right on the face. Yeah.
Broken.
Yeah.
Gone. And I kind of determined that I'm not a watch person.
I
tried to be pocket watch guy once, but I have 2 pocket watches, but that's surprisingly hard to I don't know. Where do you put the chain? What do you put it? Yeah, it's just not. No. I love the concept, but it just never caught on.
The wristwatch replaced the pocket watch for a reason. People are like, oh yeah, this is way better than having to have an extra pocket for my watch, plus the little dangly chain that I'm sure gets caught on everything.
But my father-in-law got me a pocket watch for my wedding.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I kind of want to be a pocket watch guy. I don't know. Lloyd's like, Salazar's like, wow, this is really riveting radio.
Good radio.
Whatever, Lloyd. Whatever, dude.
Salazar.
Should I start Jacoby Myers this week? These guys are trying to talk me out of it. No? Okay.
Look, man, you've asked 4 people and you're not satisfied with the answer that we've all given you.
I am.
You're like my wife. You ask me something, I give you my opinion. And
Yeah.
Yeah. I know what you're saying.
We all know what you're saying.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, we all know what you're saying. We don't say it. Yeah.
Big news coming out of Tempe, Ben, as it looks like, and I don't know if we can dial up Dilly talking about this, Christian, but okay, Dilly goes on.
Kenny Dillingham, the head coach of Arizona State.
Thank you. Mm-hmm. He goes on, a sister station of ours down in Phoenix, every Friday, and he gave an update on his quarterback and his availability against Utah. Here you go.
Sam's been battling something going back to Baylor. He's been fighting, fought through TCU game. You know, Sam does everything he possibly can to try to come back and play in football games here. He's the ultimate competitor. He's gone to rehab. He's gone outside to rehab. I mean, he's done everything he could do to get back. Bye week was good for him to get kind of back. And then, this week it just didn't feel as good as we wanted to, leaving Wednesday's practice. So I think that's an accurate deal. I'll be shocked. I mean, if he plays in the game, it'll be a mini miracle. I'll be absolutely shocked. I think this is the best thing for him in the future season, but we'll know this morning, this afternoon, final what it is when he comes in this morning and how he feels. But this is nothing new. This is something that's been going on, and Sam's been working his butt as hard as he can to get better and to be able to play in the game. But at the end of the day, we got to protect people from people.
So I don't think it's all that likely we're going to see Sam Leavitt, obviously.
Doesn't seem like it.
Minor miracle.
We will get I think he said mini miracle, but yeah, we will get the final or not final, but second to final or third to. I think it's the third to final.
Whatever
injury report.
The coach talking about it in the interview.
Tomorrow there will be one, and there'll be another one 90 minutes before the game.
So that's a difference.
He's not playing. I don't get the sense he's playing.
Well, and it explains some of the stuff that we've talked that maybe he hasn't been quite as dynamic so far this season. And if it's something like, and I don't know if we know specifically the injury, I haven't seen it, but if it's something like a high ankle sprain, Ben, you've covered the NBA long enough to know a high ankle sprain doesn't go away.
It could be anything. It could be a thumb. It could be what? Yeah, I mean, you just have to not use it.
There's certain injuries that just don't go away, and so that impacts the game. However, in both the Cougars and the Utes game, Ben, the weather is going to be atrocious.
It is.
And so it might honestly be the great equalizer. Like if there was a game for Sam Leavitt honestly to miss, it's probably the slop fest, And so where just anything is possible. It has the potential to be a pretty wacky weekend. We were talking in the producer's studio before the show started, and Hatch was saying they're expected to get 2 inches of rain basically during the BYU-Arizona game.
Well, and
because of the hurricane. The hurricane came ashore, and all this rain is from the hurricane. That's an incredible amount of rain for that region.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be 8 inches in the overall storm, but 2 inches on Saturday night. I mean, that's like flood level down there because they just aren't the landscape isn't built for that much water.
And are we guaranteed that they haven't changed the time on this game?
So we were talking about that. They were saying they were going to make a decision on that later today if they were going to move it up or not.
Yeah.
And I don't know how much difference that would make. Probably a good deal.
Well, if it's before the rain, yeah.
If it does do it, and I know probably what's the game on the Mouse, right? ESPN? Mm-hmm. I'm sure the Mouse would be grumpy, but who cares? Do it. I mean, have you seen what flooding does to desert communities? It brings it to a gridlock. I mean, people's lives are really crazy impacted, and there's basically, I don't want to get too in the weeds on this sort of thing, but those cities in those desert cities are not set up for drainage.
Right.
They're not. Our community is actually, Ben, I don't know if you've talked to anybody that really knows this stuff, but it's all designed around drainage. It's all designed around getting water out of the mountains and where it needs to go without flooding. We saw that, a couple of years ago when everybody was expecting the big flood after the big snow.
It snowed late, and then it got really hot.
And it turns out that when it flooded in the 80s, there were some really smart engineers that were like, well, we should
avoid this.
Probably not let that happen. It happens so infrequently in Arizona that they don't even really think about it all that much, and the ground cannot absorb.
We're also on a slope.
That type of water.
They're flat, so there's nowhere for the water to go.
It's a lot different. And so that kind of moisture falling, for the safety of the people going, they should move it up.
So if that game changes time, obviously during our show, we will let you know. But yes, the big story is that Jeff Sims is going to start. And yes, Jeff Sims, having began his career at Georgia Tech, you probably have a sense of what type of quarterback he is. And that's not a prolific passer.
He's a 6-year senior, something like that?
He is in his 6th year. So that.
Well, I don't know. Georgia Tech hasn't run the option for a while. I mean, do we know he's an option quarterback? Georgia Tech hasn't played that.
If you look at his stats, he is not a throwing quarterback.
Okay.
He is not a quarterback who has made his hay through the air.
Well, it's not going to matter because I don't think either team's going to throw the ball.
31 touchdowns, 29 interceptions in his career. Not a big-time passer by any stretch. Better seems on the ground as a rushing threat. So that, I guess, would technically feed itself into a very rainy day, and you might think that that's an advantage. I think that's overthinking it. Sam Leavitt's one of the best quarterbacks in the Big 12. Jordan Tyson's probably their best weapon right now at Arizona State.
Yeah, the receiver.
If they don't have somebody who can get him the ball consistently, they're going to be in trouble.
Yeah, well, it's always better to have your starter than not. And yeah, Sam Leavitt's good.
Jordan Tyson has 7 touchdowns already this season.
I get all
that's more receiving touchdowns than Utah has.
I get all you're saying,
actually,
but this was not going to be a quarterback game. If it's going to rain as much as we think it's going to rain, this was not going to be a quarterback game. And then it's up to the coaching staff to figure out how to get Jordan Tyson involved when the conditions aren't ideal. I mean, that's all coaching stuff. So this game, both games, but this game at Rice Eccles I think is going to be a weird one, and I think it's going to be low scoring.
It's not. It says tomorrow. I'm looking at it right now. I've just Googled it. It says there's a 45% chance of rain tomorrow night.
Well, in Utah, that's 100%.
But we don't know if it's going to be a downpour. You know what I mean?
We
Again,
don't.
just don't overthink this. Utah is now facing a situation where they've got a bad backup quarterback that they are facing at home at night against a team that was good but already somewhat compromised from where they were last year, and all you had to do was watch the Thursday night football game last night to recognize what a major weapon they have lost in Cam Scatterbo. So, boo. So, this now has turned into a game where I'm not going to call it a must-win if you're trying to win the conference. I think a team with 2 losses has a chance to still get to the Big 12 title game. But if you can't beat Arizona State at home with their backup quarterback, you're not good enough to win the Big 12. So in that sense, this becomes a measuring stick game that you simply have to pass this test. This has to be a game that Utah's able to win. I don't want to say easily. I don't think any football game is necessarily easy to win, but this has to be an opportunity that Utah takes advantage of.
Can I say for a moment that I really appreciate Dillingham saying that sometimes they've got to protect them from themselves?
Yes.
I wish we would hear that from more coaches. For example, and I don't know, I didn't watch, I wasn't able to watch the NFL game last night, but I have seen the clips of there was a moment that Dayball was so frustrated with Rusty having to play 2 snaps that he just lit up the trainer to get Jackson Dart back on the field. Mm-hmm. Maybe you let the trainer take his time to do his thing.
Yeah.
Whatever he's going. Maybe you deal with Rusty for a couple of extra plays. Maybe you don't yell at the trainer who's just trying to put the quarterback in a healthy situation. It's not really a controversy anymore, but like coaches that were, Gary Patterson was this at TCU, coaches that were addicted to putting obviously concussed players back onto the field.
Yeah.
There was, and I think Lane Kiffin was the coach at USC at the time. They had the star receiver, I'm trying to remember who it was, who was also a punt returner, and Utah hit him so hard that he ran off the field to the wrong side. He was back on the field like 2 plays later.
Yeah.
And now it's different with the tent, and people are more sensitive to it or whatever. But coaches, man, they love playing injured players. Just love it. Get back out there. I mean, there's a whole, what do they call it, Ben? A trope is not what I'm looking for, but it's Friday Night Lights. It's a big part of Friday night. It's like it's made its way to Hollywood.
Of course.
Varsity Blues, which we talked about the other day. Keep that needle out of Wendell's leg.
Yeah.
I don't get it. So to hear a coach say, man, sometimes we've got to think about this guy's best interest, and, he really wants to play as a competitor, all in that, but we're going to put the brakes on it because he's not ready to go. And maybe he's not being altruistic about it, and there's some sort of, well, we're going to save him for Texas Tech or something. But I at least like hearing a coach say, we're going to protect him from him a little bit. Ben, when you were on the skateboard team in high school, you probably had an ankle that you shouldn't have skated on. But you wanted it for the team.
Had to be there for the skateboarding team.
You had to be there for the squad but you probably should have sat it out. And now you're on your, fourth, fifth ankle surgery?
Yeah, it's terrible. Can't get off it. So, anyways, yeah, this is a tough situation for Arizona State, clearly. And, Utah doesn't need to have any sympathy for them. Utah couldn't win games last year because they were missing their quarterback as well.
Do you have uniforms on the skateboard team?
Yeah, it's a bunch of kids with baggy clothes smoking cigarettes. Yeah, that's all.
No, I thought maybe it was like
a bunch of unshowered, unwashed children.
Maybe it was like a headband or something.
Sitting in a garage somewhere on a smelly old couch.
Like the brown headbands. Those are, Highland.
Yeah, go Rams. So this is a golden opportunity for the Utes to pick up a win in what was probably one of their remaining 50-50 games. This game, BYU's going to be 50-50. We'll see what Kansas on the road at the end of the season looks like, and there's some difficult games always mixed in, but you get a gift in one of these 50-50 games where you should now feel far more confident that you're going to be able to win this game, and it really should elevate your chances because there are not a lot of great teams in the Big 12. I don't know if Utah's a great team in the Big 12, but you have a chance now to pick up a win where you couldn't pencil that in before.
Yeah, I wasn't sold on Arizona State before Sam Leavitt or before they lost their starting quarterback, so obviously I'm going to be less so. But I've seen Utah lose to backup quarterbacks in the past. I've seen Utah lose to third-string quarterbacks in the past. It's
they just got shredded by Texas Tech's backup.
Yeah, right. I mean that things happen in college football, and weird things happen in the weather, and all of the above. So yeah, I guess you can say Utah has to win this game. I don't believe in must-wins when you're coming off of a season where you were below 500. I think Utah still has a lot to prove. I think it can start by proving it against Arizona State, but I haven't seen anything yet that would make me say, well, Utah absolutely should win this game.
Yeah, when you face the opposing team's backup quarterback at home, you should win the game.
Which they lost to Texas Tech.
Yeah. That doesn't mean you should lose that game, And Texas Tech has been better than Arizona State so far this season. We've seen that on the field. So this is an inferior opponent to the one you already lost to. And yeah, they've got their backup quarterback. And you're prepared for this backup quarterback, which you were not prepared for the last one, which again is not an excuse for losing. You probably shouldn't. But now you go into this opportunity with a much worse quarterback who's on his third team in his sixth season. Yeah, you should win this game. Absolutely. Is it a must-win? I guess not. But like I said, if you can't win this game, you can't win the Big 12.
Well, yeah, but they've got things to accomplish before we even talk about winning the Big 12.
Yeah, starting with this weekend against a team with a backup quarterback when you're playing at home.
Start with winning a conference game at home.
Yeah.
Which has never happened.
And now this is the golden opportunity to do it.
All right, we've got top three stories of the day at KSLSports.com. Coming up next, Bartle is going to join the show at the top of the 11 o'clock hour. We'll get more of a perspective on this Utah-Arizona State game. And then a longtime columnist for the Arizona Daily Star, Greg Hansen, is going to be on the show. Have you heard Greg before?
I've talked to Greg.
He's kind of on the grumpier side of things, which I appreciate.
Yeah. Especially
from a columnist.
Mm-hmm.
Columnists should be grumpy. No?
Talked to him last year.
All right, stay tuned.
Yeah, I know Greg.
More next. 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
It's time to break down the biggest stories of the day. This is the top three stories of the day on KSLSports.com. 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Jake and Ben and 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Want to remind you can win big every Wednesday on the KSL Sports Zone with Win Ticket Wednesday. Coming up next week, you can win tickets to go see Eric Church in the Free the Machine Tour, October the 23rd at Delta Center. Find your tickets on SeatGeek and listen to the KSL Sports Zone all day on Wednesday for your chance to win. Ben, can I ask you a quick question, and then we'll get into top three stories? Mm-hmm. So we've got Armpit Show up here in the background, and Adam Schefter is on.
Uh-huh.
And he's wearing a Augusta National shirt, where he's not broadcasting from there or anything. He's just wearing the shirt. Now, I wear a lot of golf shirts with names of the courses on it.
Uh-huh.
But my initial reaction was, what a pretentious jerk for wearing an Augusta National shirt.
He wears it a lot.
But yet I wear a lot of golf shirt with names of courses on there. So am I being a hypocrite? Or because my justification in my mind is Augusta National is something different. You can't just walk in off the street and buy. Like I have a Pinehurst one because my old man played there, right? Mm-hmm. So he got me a shirt. My old man can't get on at Augusta National. Nobody can unless your last name's like Trump. Uh-huh. Or you're the elite of the elite.
Right.
So I feel like it's different, and I can look down on Schefter.
He just wears it every time he's on TV. If he's not wearing a suit, he's got his Augusta National quarter zip on.
Isn't he just screaming like, I'm very important?
He's like crap all over. Again, we hate the way they set these up, but he's got crap all over the table behind him. It just looks...
I got to play there with Jerry Jones. And you know what I mean?
Yeah.
All right. Thank you. Thank you for reinforcing my take. All right. Top 3 stories brought to you by J. Brooks Jewelers. Cherish your love with J. Brooks Jewelers. Explore their expertly crafted engagement rings made from the finest materials. J. Brooks Jewelers. All right, Christian, where do you want to start today?
Number 1, BYU on the road this week, looking for win number 6 at Arizona.
Would be great to be bowl eligible already. Not that was really ever in question after the first couple of games. They looked like they had a player in Bear Bachmeier who was capable of moving the ball consistently, and certainly a very good team around him. So I don't think that by itself is enough, but 6-0 is a great start to any season.
The weather good or bad for BYU against Arizona?
Bad.
I was going to go good, so I'm curious to hear your explanation.
I do still think that Chase Roberts and Parker Kingston are big-time playmakers that they need, and I am a little curious still about BYU's rushing game if you know that that's what's coming, especially because we looked at Arizona's defense, and it was fine.
It was top 10.
So if they're able to take away some of that from Bear, Bear just tucking his head and running is not a good idea, and LJ Martin's a very good player. But I do think their versatility, actually, what versatility they have shown has been a real asset for them. Now, the advantage is that if you turn Arizona into a rushing team and Noah Fafita is not able to move the ball through the air, that certainly benefits BYU's defense. But BYU's defense is good regardless.
See, I was going with all Fafita. I mean, that's if BYU's defense makes Arizona one-dimensional with a little help of the weather, that takes away the Wildcats' best player. I think that's always a good thing. Plus, with BYU winning ball games, it's all about minimalism, if that makes any sense. Like, if Fafita's healthy and slinging it, you might give up 28 points, maybe into the 30s if he's really on. I'm not saying that would be likely. But if Fafita's neutralized and you keep him in the teens, well, all of a sudden the game becomes way more winnable. And I think LJ Martin's great. I think if I had to bet on, figuratively, of course, one of these two teams being able to run the ball, I think I would go with the Cougs.
Yeah, I don't have a lot of faith that Arizona is going to move the ball on the ground particularly well. They don't have a big-time running back on the roster. I do think Fafita leads the team in rushing touchdowns as well, which is not unheard of for quarterbacks. But, when they get into the red zone, they don't really have a guy who punches it in. It's Noah scrambling around and making plays with his feet. So, I don't expect him to move the ball particularly well, but I never really expect him to move the ball all that well.
Real quick, total rushing yards for Arizona in 5 games.
5 games, 750 yards.
719, so you're pretty close.
Yeah, that's very low.
That's not good.
Yeah, it's really low.
As a team, that's not terrific. So I don't. It'll be fascinating. But if Arizona wins, I think it's because of Noah Fafita.
Okay.
Whereas BYU, I think, has a couple of other avenues for victory.
I understand rain. It makes it harder to throw the ball. If your identity is you throw the ball, as long as it's not in the middle of a hurricane, and I get that they're actually going into it's a tropical
storm. This is a hurricane, yes.
If the wind allows you to move the ball through the air at all, then you got to move. Then you got to try and still throw the ball. And look, I haven't been picking Arizona to win this game at all week. So I think BYU's going to win this game regardless of the weather.
Now I'm just really curious as to where Arizona ranks running the ball, because that was a surprisingly
720 over
719.
5?
Yeah, that was a surprisingly low number.
130 yards a game.
Yeah, it's 90th.
Yeah, it's terrible. Yeah, they're a bad rushing team.
At a little over 143 per game.
What's their passing offense?
Hang in with me, Ben. Sorry. I know.
Googling stuff on the radio is one of my favorite bits.
Enough out of you, Cristiano.
Yeah, why don't you have this information in front of us,
Yeah,
Christian?
seriously. 286 per game. Good enough for 22nd.
Okay. So, yeah.
Fafita.
Yeah.
So if he has a tough day, BYU, I like their chances better. I don't think your points about BYU's passing attack are wrong necessarily. I just think Noah Fafita has a chance to be a game changer. And if he has a tough time throwing the ball, that's going to be a long day for the Wildcats.
And that's what I expect.
And if BYU can keep him in the teens or lower, they should win.
Hey, since we're Googling things, where's BYU as a rushing team?
Rushing team, BYU.
Christian, why don't we have this in front of us?
Didn't we do this like 2 days ago?
I don't know if
No,
we
that
did
was
BYU.
for Utah.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
did Utah. We did Arizona.
Okay. So BYU been through 5 games, 234 yards per game, good enough for 15th in the country.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. BYU can do that. You know, I don't love it as a game plan. I think they've got to be more dynamic than that, especially against better teams. I don't know if Arizona's a better team, especially in the weather. I don't know if it's a better team, but I would like to see BYU continue to move the ball to the air. That's when they're at their best.
honestly, move the game up. I hope they do that.
Yeah, I hope so too.
All right, what's next?
Number 2, the Utah Mammoth dropped their season opener last night at Colorado.
Ran into a very good goalie. Dylan Gunther got the 1 goal. He has now opened both Utah hockey and Utah Mammoth seasons with the first goal, but the Avalanche looked good, especially their goaltender. I actually really liked how well the Mammoth played offensively, other than they just couldn't get the puck in the back of the net. But the speed looked faster than last year. There was a ton of aggression. I do think J.J. Paterka is going to be a nice addition there. His aggression really seemed to give them a lot of opportunities. Sometimes it seems like you do run into a hot goalie and you just can't get the puck in. But I thought they played pretty well.
Which is what our buddy Nick Olchek basically told us to expect, right? Fast team, should be a good product.
Yeah, I think they're going to be good. You know, again, it's one game and everyone's juiced, and this team still hasn't played together a whole lot. So I think you're still seeing some issues where the chemistry probably isn't fully there. But I did think they were making more aggressive passes to try and move the puck across the ice to set up shooters, and I thought that was nice. They blew a bunch of opportunities in transition where, you know, one of those goes in, and obviously you get a point in overtime or you get a chance to win it in overtime. They had 3 breakaways and didn't score on any of them, which it's hard to score regardless in hockey. But I honestly, I thought they played well. It was not a game where you thought, oof, that was a rough outing.
I'd like to see a little more dirty play.
Okay.
But outside of that, no, I'm excited for this team. I'm with you on Paterka, and I hope it is a really fast, upbeat scoring team, even though that's not necessarily what we saw. But it should be, right?
And then Vejmelka was good. Vejmelka, especially early, faced a lot of pressure in the first period. He did let one get through, but I thought he played well. If you're only scoring 2 goals against this team, against the Mammoth, I think they're going to win a lot of games.
All right, what's next?
Number 3, Bryson Barnes got a little banged up a couple weeks ago against Vanderbilt, but he should be good to go tomorrow for Utah State at Hawaii.
He's out there guarding Vanderbilt. Do they need him against Hawaii?
You always want your starting quarterback. And Bryson Barnes is a very good player at that level. And that's not a knock. That sounds like a caveat. It's
that
not
does.
supposed
That
to
was
be.
really condescending.
Well, he's limited against certain teams.
He won Pac-12 games. Give the man
He
his
did
due.
win, right? But right. So at that level, I mean, if he can beat USC on the road, I believe, yeah, you want to have him out there against Hawaii. I mean, that's a good opportunity for Bronco to continue to juice. Sounds like, again, like I'm insulting Utah State. I'm not at all.
Sure does. Jeez.
But what was their over-under set at? Like 3.5 games? 4 games? And I said, well, they're going to exceed that because Bronco Mendenhall always exceeds that. He always has better teams than people think, and they're always far more disciplined. And, yeah, beating Hawaii with Bryson Barnes is the type of game you need to exceed those expectations.
I don't know what to expect about Hawaii, Ben. Their best win so far is either at Air Force or home against Stanford. They had their losses come at Arizona 40-6. Mm-hmm. And home against Fresno in a close one, 23-21. So maybe they do need Bryson Barnes to beat Hawaii.
Yeah, I think you do.
Poor Scotty. has to go to Hawaii.
Utah State, 2.5-point favorites on the road. 10 p.m. kick, by the way, local time. Or here time, mountain time.
That is local time. That's where we are, locally.
Locally.
Is Scotty in Lahaina on the beach right now? With some sort of fruity beverage?
How's the weather?
In Lahaina? I'm sure it's gorgeous.
Yeah, rooting for Scotty. He deserves
What,
it.
are you hoping it's raining?
73. No, I'm just curious. I mean, we've got all these storms going on across the entire
Oh, yeah, the
planet.
hurricane or whatever.
Yeah, coast to coast, there's
I
storms right now.
think the hurricane is much, what direction was that? East
Yeah.
of Hawaii?
Yeah.
No, I'm sure. I hope Scotty's enjoying the sun.
Rainy this weekend in Hawaii. I mean, this coming weekend, not this weekend, next weekend. So, should be beautiful for Scotty.
Do we know if Scotty's coming back next week? Is he going to stay out there a few extra days?
Did he take the gang?
The whole fam?
I hope he did.
Oh, there's no way.
You got a free hotel. Fly everybody out.
Yeah, a free
He
hotel.
took Ajay.
A free hotel for Scotty.
I think they went.
Did they
last
take
year.
Ajay?
Well,
Yeah.
I think they all went 2
Yeah.
years ago.
Wow. Well, good for Ajay. I didn't know Ajay was there. I am hoping it's raining.
Well, if I'm Scotty's wife and you're on the road as much as you are, and once every other year you go to Hawaii, weird. I also
Even
booked a
for
flight to
now,
Hawaii.
right?
Weird. I also booked a flight.
They're not even going to be in the same league going forward. So this
Yeah. Right.
might be the last time.
Yeah. I'm
Sorry, Brody.
I'm going.
Ajay's coming with me.
Wow. Well, have fun, Scotty. All right. No, I think Utah State should win. Bryson Barnes, Utah State's played well. And Bryson Barnes is a Bronco Mendenhall type guy. I mean, a hard hat kind of guy. A work hard, try hard, pick farming type of dude. I'm not surprised that Bronco and Bryson have a rapport. Bronco's favorite quarterback at BYU was always Riley Nelson.
Bryson's a good player. He just
But Bronco's a different kind of coach. He likes a different kind of player. That's why PK always bring this up. If you're a Bronco guy, he's going to love you. Not meaning he's like if you're a type of person that Bronco's looking for, you're going to love Bronco Mendenhall.
hey, Bryson's a great fit for Utah State. I mean, even his backstory is agricultural. It's great.
Yeah, but Broncos passed on more talented, more athletic, better football players because they don't do whatever he's looking
Well,
for.
that's a flaw.
I don't know. He's won a lot of games.
has won a lot of
at
games.
places where you don't win a lot of games.
I don't know. BYU seems to be able to win even without Bronco.
I'm not referring to BYU.
Okay, you're right.
I'm referring to UVA and New Mexico.
Yeah.
And by the way, billionaire investing in UVA. And nobody can win at New Mexico.
That's true.
Rocky Long was
They
the
won
last one to
5
do it.
games last year. They didn't win 9 games.
5 more than expected. It's New Mexico.
He had a pretty good quarterback, pretty good receiver,
That's
pretty
where
good running back.
Bob Davey went to die.
Sure.
I hope Bob's still with us, by the way. I'm not trying to. Who was the one who went to New Mexico, punched another coach right in the face, and is now a decent coach in Maryland? Mike Loxley. Such a bad job. You're assaulting people. It's impossible to win there.
Apparently, that's a thing in Arizona. Well, I guess in the Southwest, because Gannon's also punching people. He's his own players, right?
You're referring to Arizona
Jonathan
Cardinals
Gannon, Arizona
head
Cardinals
coach.
head coach.
I think what
Cost him $100,000.
what Mike Loxley did to his assistant was much more severe than that.
Yeah.
All right, stay tuned. We'll have more Jake and Ben coming up next. 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Complete game coverage of the Cougars is right here on the KSL Sports Zone. The Cougars head to Tucson for a battle against the Arizona Wildcats. Your home for the best coverage of Cougar football is right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. You're listening to Jake Scott and Ben Anderson on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Jake and Ben, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Want to remind you about my hearing centers. Join Hansen Scotty coming up next Tuesday from noon to 3, 8941 South, 700 East, my hearing centers. Ben and I were talking off the air about people being recognized or not being recognized. Mm-hmm. Would you rather be not recognized?
Yes.
Or recognized as somebody else. Like, I'll give you an example. My favorite example of all time is Britton Johnson.
Right.
Now, brace yourself. I'm going to bring up Sean Bradley. I know you want to make it tragic. I'm not trying to do that. Shout out to Sean. But Britton would...
You were literally the one last time you brought it up. We're talking about the tragedy.
Britton would... I was with him. It happened like dozens of times where he'd be walking around and somebody would be going, "Hey, Sean! Sean Bradley, everywhere! Look at Sean!" And it's like, I was Mountain West Player of the Year, right?
I played in the NBA. Dunked on LeBron.
Like there's some dude did it to him in a Ute hat, and Britton looks at him and he's like, "Really?
Not you.
Really?
Yeah.
I played for Majerus. I was on the best Ute team of all time. Well, arguably.
Yeah. Never be recognized ever. Yeah, why would you ever want to be recognized anywhere?
My favorite, though, there are people that really want to be recognized. No, I'm with you 1,000%. It's the reason why I hate this YouTube thing so much. But the funniest one, Britton was at a car dealership, and he was talking to somebody, and this guy's like, "Hey, what's going on, Sean?" And a dude from 100 feet away starts running right. I go, "Hey, that's not Sean Bradley." And he goes, "That's Alex Jensen."
Britton Johnson is uniquely tall.
He's 6'10". He's not 7'6".
He's legitimately 6'10", and there is a huge difference between 6'10" and 6'7".
Yep.
You'll see a 6'7" person every, 3 months? You'll see a really tall guy somewhere. 6'7" is not unheard of. 6'10" is super rare. 7'6" is gargantuan.
So tall.
7'6", there is such a huge difference between Sean Bradley and Britton Johnson. It really is unmistakable. But when you don't see 6'10" very often, which we just see it a lot because of our jobs, it seems enormously tall, impossibly tall, until you see a 7'6" person you recognize, oh, that's one of 50 people on the planet that size. There just are not many humans built like Sean Bradley.
Britton Johnson, by the way, and we've got Bartle coming up next, and he is the reason I cannot complain about airline travel. Because I've listened to Britton complain about airline travel, and it's like, I'm 6 feet tall. He is legit 10 inches taller than me and still finds a way to get onto a plane. I don't know how that's even possible.
No, it'd be horrible.
Can you imagine flying to Europe or something as a 6'10" person and coach?
I can't imagine showering. I can't imagine trying to get into a normal bed. No, it'd be horrendous.
Isn't that the reason Karl Malone couldn't sell his house forever? Because it was built for a 6'10" person?
Yeah, like the not shelves, but his countertops were 8 inches higher than everybody else.
It was built for a 6'10" person, and then it was built by a cowboy. It was
a real theme.
It was a real theme.
Yeah.
That's very nicely put. Yeah, and I think it was on the market for 5 years or something. He just could not sell it. Is that right?
Out from underneath him.
Wow.
He didn't tell him he was buying it.
Is that how it happened?
Mm-hmm. Pretty crappy, actually.
From an agent, especially.
Well, they kept lowering it, and then his agent bought it without telling him he bought it.
And then I'm sure flipped it or whatever.
Yeah.
Got rid of the log cabin look or however it looked, and then sold it for a fortune.
Silly. Anyways.
Who was it that had to get the special bed? Wasn't that
Al Jefferson?
Al Jefferson. Mm-hmm. Who, it was I think it was a storyline, wasn't it? Because he started playing better or something, and somebody asked him, and he's like, "Well, I finally got my bed.
Yeah.
I was sleeping on a hotel queen."
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's funny. Being that size is a lifestyle.
Impractical.
Impractical,
at best.
For sure. The world was not built for people that tall.
Yep.
All right. Stay tuned. Steve Bartle's going to join us. We'll get his thoughts on tomorrow night's matchup between the Utes and the Sun Devils. Then Greg Hansen, columnist for the Arizona Daily Star at 11:30. It's the Jake and Ben Show, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Nobody gets you ready for Utah football more than the KSL Sports Zone.
Ready?
Kyle Whittingham and the Utes are back at home for a showdown against Arizona State. Your home for the best coverage of Utah football is right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. You're listening to Jake Scott and Ben Anderson. on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Jacob Ben, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Join the KSL Sports Zone for the rivalry pregame bash live from UCCU down in Provo. Enjoyed food, games, prizes, cash, and tickets to the rivalry game. Don't miss it. Saturday, October 18th, 4 to 6 at UCCU's Freedom Boulevard branch in Provo. UCCU, love where you make. Dude, I am so done with Kirk Herbstreit. I'm gonna mute the games he calls that I watch. I love Al Michaels, but I think I'm like, did you see the tweet? The reason he's coming up is because he's doing a live hit with Armpit where he looks like he's laying down or in a closet or like in
no lighting again,
not put together. No, just looks terrible. Did you see his tweet he threw out the other day where he's like, me and this dog have traveled 6,000 miles or whatever, and it's him on a plane, and it's just like, are you serious, dude? Just leave your dog at home, please. Please find some lighting when you're doing a live hit on Armpits.
I'm with you. I'm fine getting rid of Kirk Herbstreit.
Joining us now, he covers the Utes for KSLSports.com. He is our good buddy, Steve Bartle. Hit it, Christian.
Covering the Utes better than anyone else. This is Ute Insider Steve Bartle of KSLSports.com on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Hi, Steve.
What's up, fellas? How we doing?
We're doing well. How do you think Utah's doing after the news that it sounds like Sam Leavitt will not be the starting quarterback for Arizona State?
Yeah, I think, nothing really changes for Utah. They're going to continue to prepare the way they have all week. And, Whittingham often talks about it like you always just anticipate everybody being available and preparing for, certain players to play. And I think that's what that's the sort of mindset Utah, Coach Whittingham, Coach Scally, they're going to take with the news that Sam Leavitt is now doubtful. That was certainly a surprise last night to see that. But, you certainly – Utah learned last year that nobody feels bad for you when you've got injuries. You've got to go out, you've got to perform, and I think that's sort of the mindset that they're going to take into this game. I think Coach Dillingham has done a really good job of turning ASU into a really tough, competitive program, and there's a really strong culture there now where he's going to get guys to step up, and so Utah's just going to prepare. I assume, anyways. The way that they would, even if if Leavitt does in fact play. So they're going to prepare the same way and get ready for ASU's best shot.
Given some factors like ASU is good against the run and the weather might be a factor on Saturday night, what is the recipe for Utah success specifically offensively? What do you think the offense is going to look like if it's going well?
Yeah, I think it's winning on first down, and to me, that's going to be a big determining factor for Utah and their ability to find success on offense. ASU does a really good job of limiting success on the ground. Utah has found a lot of success running the ball this season with that offensive line and the run game, the guys that they have in the backfield. And when looking at first down specifically, Utah is averaging 5.39 yards per carry on first down specifically, whereas Arizona State is giving up just 1.97 yards per carry against the run on first down. So to me, that's going to be the big determining factor. If Utah can establish themselves on the ground, particularly on first down, to stay ahead of the chains and to stay on schedule, with the chains, I think that's going to be the biggest factor for Utah in establishing, their success tomorrow night. I think that's going to be the big factor. And we started to see, going back to, obviously with West Virginia, going back to that game, Utah just overmatched West Virginia. But going back to that Texas Tech game, Utah was just starting to put together some drives, right, early on in that game. I think they had a 5-play, 28-yard drive before Wayshawn Parker fumbled the ball. The defense got an interception and got the ball right back to Utah. They started to put together another little 20-yard type of drive, and then Ryan Davis got the ball punched out again. And so that's going to be a big factor, especially given the weather conditions tomorrow night, is protecting the football so that you can put together and sustain those drives. So winning on first down, I think, is going to be the big key, but protecting the football so that you can put together drives and take hold of the momentum tomorrow night is going to be just as important for Utah.
What's been the storyline about the bye week and how Utah's handled it?
A different approach than the last few years. This is a team that in recent history has been really hurt by the injury bug, and I think there's been a lot of learning in how to best handle injuries and fatigue and all that. And with Utah, this has been a team that has still been bitten by the injury bug, but I think they've taken a different approach with rest and that sort of thing. So, I think that was the big focus for Whittingham and this Utah squad was rest and recovery. They've got a couple of key players that are dealing with some nagging injuries. On the defensive front specifically, Aliki Vamahi and Dallas Vakalahi, at tackle specifically. And I think providing this team with, a break, kind of a lighter week, I think was sort of the approach that Kyle Whittingham took with the team this year, which is a change from what we've seen in the last couple of years, where it's been, grinded out and get to work and all of that sort of stuff. So I think that was the big focus for Whittingham during the bye week, was getting this team rested, because like we've talked about, in the lead up all throughout all this past month, is this next phase of the schedule is going to be significantly tougher week in, week out with, what you've got with Arizona State, BYU. We know how physical those teams are going to be. Colorado, isn't finding as much success as they were last year, but they're playing better in the trenches than they were last year, in my opinion. And then Cincinnati is the big surprise of the season so far, getting that big win against Iowa State. Brendan Sorsby is a guy that I really liked coming into the season, and he's playing well, but they're running the ball really, really effectively as well. So I think getting rest and prioritizing that last week was super important, because this next stretch of games is going to be really physical, really daunting, and it's going to test Utah.
Arizona State should be physical up front defensively, and I'm curious. I heard Coach would evaluate the offensive line so far this season on Monday. I'm curious for your evaluation. Has the offensive line lived up to the high expectations?
I think so. Just in general, right, over the course of 5 games, I think there are a lot of indicators that suggest this offensive line is playing great football. Unfortunately, the one test that Utah needed them the most was against Texas Tech, and I don't think they had their best in that game. So there's still a little bit of wanting more from that group. But when you look at a lot of the metrics that regarding offensive line play, whether it be pressures allowed, sacks allowed, whether it be line yards, all of those things paint a really positive picture that this group is playing great football. It's just, again, going back to that Tech game, that was the matchup. That was the litmus test. That was the big opportunity to, put your foot down and stake your claim as, the top unit in the country. And unfortunately just weren't able to do that in that game. So I think there's a little bit of wanting to see a little bit more, from this group. But overall, I think you can't help but come away satisfied with what they've done so far this season.
Does Sam Leavitt not being on the field change, you think, the way Utah approaches how they're going to defend and try and slow down Jordan Tyson?
Not much, a little bit in terms of the details with Leavitt, because he just, he's been playing such good football. But these are very similar quarterbacks in the sense that they're both athletic. They both are very dangerous with their legs. I think Leavitt has a little bit more command of the offense and the passing game. That's kind of where there's a little bit of drop off going from Leavitt to Sims, but in terms of just preparing for a dual threat quarterback that's going to be utilized in the option game, that's going to be somebody that can break, contain, and use their legs in scramble drill type situations, that's going to be the same. So in terms of structure and things that they may have prepared for with Leavitt, that's going to remain mostly the same. But I think it'll be interesting to see how some of the more detailed approach with defensive schemes and stuff. I think Leavitt just commands so much attention because of how dangerous he is using his legs. I'm not sure that Jeff Sims is that same type of quarterback. I think I think mostly it's going to be the same, but I'm interested to see what it actually looks like tomorrow night.
Especially watching Cam Scattaboo last night for the Giants, I've kind of had a tough time evaluating how good I think Arizona State is. Even with QB1, do you consider them to be a conference contender?
I do. Yeah, no, I do. Like I said earlier, I think Kenny Dillingham has really turned this ASU program into a winner. And I think there's a lot of things that point to that, right? Their last two conference games, going on the road to Waco and grinding out a gritty win against the Bears, where you had to make plays in the fourth quarter on both sides of the ball to get that win. And then at home against TCU a couple weeks ago, TCU was playing great football. I thought Josh Hoover was, the top quarterback in the league at that moment. And, watching that game, Arizona State's defense, shut down Hoover and that Horned Frog attack in the fourth quarter. It was like Hoover forgot how to play football. But I think that's a big credit to what the Sun Devils are doing on the defensive side of the ball. They've got great athletes, and they've got guys that make plays on both sides of the ball. And that's going to be the key for Utah is, as good as Sam Leavitt is, there are a number of playmakers on both sides of the ball here that is going to make this Arizona State squad a tough out tomorrow, even without Leavitt on the field. So, you've got the top receiver in the conference in Jordan Tyson. He's a projected first-round pick, or at least garnering that sort of talk and buzz for a reason. He is that good and can make a lot of plays. Raleek Brown, he's not Cam Scattaboo in terms of run style and maybe overall ability, but Raleek Brown is an athletic running back that's created a lot of explosive plays that has, provided an electric dynamic to that rushing attack. And so he's going to be somebody that can be a significant factor still without Leavitt on the field. And then defensively, they're leading the conference in sacks with 19. They've got a tremendous cornerback in Keith Abney. And so there's a lot of players still on that Arizona State squad that Kenny Dillingham, with the culture that he's created there, I think, it's still going to be a tough out for Utah.
To date, Texas Tech has been the best team in the Big 12. I think if you look at both sides of the ball and their record being undefeated, when you look at everybody else, and that's not to discount BYU, who's also undefeated, the only other undefeated Big 12 team, but you look at what Cincinnati did last weekend or what Iowa State did last weekend. Do you think there is a second team that could be in that same conversation as Texas Tech, or do you think it's Texas Tech and then a bunch of really good teams or a bunch of okay teams? How do you view that next tier?
Yeah, I think Texas Tech has sort of proven it's them and everybody else right now. Through the first 6 weeks of the season, they are just playing really great football. I think they're the only team in the Big 12. They're one of only a handful of teams that are top 10 offense and top 10 defense in a couple of key metrics. And I think they're even top 5 in both. And so, they're playing great football on both sides of the ball. And I think they are in a tier of their own, and everybody else is competing for that other spot to the Big 12 title game. So I think, that's not to say that Texas Tech is a perfect team and they're unbeatable. There's clearly, an avenue to knocking off the Red Raiders with Bayron Morton and his struggles against pressure and that. But I think they're just playing such good football on defense, They're running the ball efficiently. They're balanced. And I think they've shown with their 2 conference wins over Utah on the road in Salt Lake City and then on the road again at Houston, getting those 2 wins really has put them in a tier of their own, and everybody else is just competing for that other spot.
Steve, thank you for jumping on with us. We greatly appreciate it, as always. Enjoy the game tomorrow. We'll be following all of your stuff.
Appreciate you guys. Have a good one.
Thanks, Steve.
Thank you, Steve. Steve Bartle jumping on with us, covers the Utes for KSLSports.com.
Where I will disagree with Steve is Jeff Sims as a dual threat quarterback in the ilk of Sam Leavitt. Again, sometimes guys who run, we call it dual threat because we assume quarterbacks can throw the ball.
Not always the case.
I'm not assuming Jeff Sims can throw the ball. In fact, the last time he got a serious opportunity to start games at Nebraska, which was 3 years ago now, so maybe he's grown. I mean, he's 32 years old now because this is his 6th season in college football. He had 1 touchdown and 6 interceptions. He had 28 total completions. So for every 4 completions, he essentially had an interception. So I'm not banking on him being able to throw the ball, especially in the rain, the same way that Sam Leavitt's been able to move the ball through the air.
Probably not, but it is a little bit different than facing a freshman.
It is.
I mean, as far as backup quarterbacks go, he's been there, done that for a long time.
There's one thing I've learned watching college football. It's that if you have 3 bites at the apple and you've been there for 6 years and nobody wants to start you, you're probably a really, really good player.
No.
A hell of a player.
No. I'm not necessarily trying to argue with you. I'm just saying he's not going to.
Keaton Slovis was really, really good.
No,
that was a really good guy by the time we saw him. 3rd chance. Man, it was a game breaker.
I got you, but Keaton Slovis as a backup quarterback would be much better than Isaac Wilson.
Yeah, and
that's all I'm saying is that if you have experience and have gotten the snaps, odds are you are not going to make this silly mistake.
Isaac Wilson, we've seen, so we could.
And we saw Keaton Slovis. I'm just saying, where you want the bounce around, and we're talking about a backup quarterback here. We're not talking about a starter who's going to win the league for you. We're talking about a backup.
I probably want the backup quarterback we saw at West Virginia than I do want Jeff Sims.
Like Utah last year, I would have way rather had Bryson Barnes.
Sure, of course.
Than Isaac Wilson.
Yes, and to the point of, yes, if you're a freshman who doesn't know what they're doing, but again, West Virginia's 3rd-string quarterback, the true freshman, was better than their backup who had been on 4 different teams.
It's not always a given. I gotcha.
The fact that he has played so much, he's had opportunities to play for different teams. No one's letting him get serious reps. And when he's gotten on the field the last time we saw him, 1 touchdown, 6 interceptions in 5 games.
Yeah.
What are we waiting for?
But
what's the breakout?
We saw DTR play Utah as a true freshman and was so intimidated by the situation that he was just awful, and Utah creamed UCLA. And he turned out to be pretty good in the end. But if you start an experienced guy, odds are he's not going to be intimidated. I don't know who he's started against, but I'm sure if he's in the ACC, he's probably played against Clemson. He's probably played against Florida State. He's not going to be intimidated by anyone. I don't know. We'd have to see again who he's played against, but he's not going to be intimidated by the moment.
Looks like he got the start it may have been to open the season in 2023 at Nebraska. And he 1 touchdown and 3 interceptions. And then he started the next week against Colorado, and they lost 36-14. So he managed 24 points as the starting quarterback in back-to-back games total, and lost his job.
Yeah, well.
Got back on the field against Maryland, notorious world beater Maryland.
Our guy Mike Loxley. They've been better.
And that was on November 11th of 2023. And he also managed to put up 10 points. With 0 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. So my point is, if Utah doesn't beat Arizona State with this player as the quarterback, Utah's not serious about competing in the Big 12. It's that simple. And not in the future. I mean this year.
Well, yeah, they're going to have 2 losses.
Yeah, you're going to have 2 losses into a specifically bad team. If, as Steve said, and it looked like, and I agree with Steve, that it's Texas Tech and maybe everybody else, I can excuse a Texas Tech loss. You can still get to the Big 12 title game. If Texas Tech's going to go undefeated, everyone who faces them will lose. But if you want to be that second-best team or the best of that next tier, you can't be losing to any team with their backup quarterback, especially a team that is already in that so-so range.
Yeah, but you're talking about math. I mean, mathematically, if you have 2 losses with 6 to go, you're not going to.
Probably not.
So, I mean, we can talk about, has no business competing or whatever, but no, it's math. You can lose against Texas Tech. That's one. And still compete for the conference.
I think you can lose 2 and still compete.
Maybe, but at that point you're going
I don't think Utah can lose to Arizona State.
Yeah. And because then you're going into fate, and then you're just hoping other people lose, and then you, to Christian's point, have to have the tiebreaker over the other 2 loss or whatever. So I think
that's been my point since the start of the show. Yeah, if you lose to Arizona State with 6 games left, A, you're not good enough, and B, the math is really working against you.
The not good enough is not they're not able to do it. They're not able to do it because they're not eligible for it.
I think it's both.
They're not good enough because their record says that they're not good enough to do it.
This goes back to your conversation a couple of days ago. You were talking about Gordon's article about if a team's up 2-0 in the finals, the odds of them winning. It's like, well, no, you're up 2-0 because you're good enough to be up 2-0. It doesn't have to be the fact that you're halfway to the championship. It helps that you're halfway to the championship, but you're good enough to be up 2-0. If Utah can't beat Arizona State with this quarterback, they're not good enough.
Well, I'm saying the if with the quarterback doesn't matter because it's math. I'm saying that's the factor that doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if they can beat Arizona State with a backup quarterback or not, or what that says about how good the team is. They're not a conference contender because the math says they're not.
I recognize what you're saying.
Okay. I don't think we're arguing. I'm just saying it's a different perspective. Well, if they can't, it's like, if I can't jog to my car after the show, I certainly can't run a mile.
Yeah.
It's unrelated.
Yeah.
Not that it matters. All right, stay tuned. Coming up next, we're going to get a preview on the Wildcats with Greg Hansen, who's a columnist for the Arizona Daily Star. Stay tuned. Jake and Ben, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Complete game coverage of the Cougars is right here on the KSL Sports Zone. The Cougars head to Tucson for a battle against the Arizona Wildcats. Your home for the best coverage of Cougar football is right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. You're listening to Jake Scott and Ben Anderson on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Woo!
Jake and Ben, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Join Hansen Scotty today at RGS Exteriors from noon to 3, 4235 Farm Road in West Jordan. Let's talk some Arizona Wildcats. Out to the zone phone we go. He is a columnist for the Arizona Daily Star. He's Greg Hansen with us here on Jake and Ben. What's going on, Greg?
Hey, Greg.
Hey, doing good, Jake. How you doing?
We're doing well. Greg, is the main storyline where you are the weather? Because that seems to be what we are focused on with BYU traveling down to Arizona.
It sure is. A day or two ago, one of the local TV weather guys said Tucson could get 7.5 inches, so everybody freaked out, and now it's down to about 1 or 1.5. So it looks like we may dodge something tragic, yeah.
Well, so definitely grateful for that because that is an incredible amount of water, and obviously a community that's not used to getting that much. That's wild. So, do you expect? I mean, Arizona's going to want to throw the ball. Do you expect the weather to be a factor with Noah Fafita?
Big time. I can count on one hand in the last 40 years how many times Arizona's played in the rain, and it's been probably 10 years since the last one. So. I think the rain will be a big factor. And I just looked at it hour by hour, and it looks like it comes in tomorrow in mid-afternoon, so it's probably right around kickoff. If indeed there is a storm, that looks like when it will be. So I would say Fafita will have trouble. He's a small guy, and he has to scramble a lot, and he's not fast. So he could struggle because Arizona doesn't have an offensive line that can just punish BYU by running the ball.
Greg, there was some speculation that maybe this game could get moved. Do you think with the change in the weather forecast, or at least less rain, as opposed to the 7 inches you had mentioned, that this game is going to proceed as planned at the original kickoff time?
I would sure say that. I watched a couple, the Weather Channel this morning, and it just looks like it's not going to be as strong as feared. And it doesn't say lightning. It's just mostly rain. So maybe I'm overconfident, but I'm thinking it'll go on a schedule, although instead of having 50,000 fans, I'll bet it's only about 25,000.
count me as one of the people who thought Arizona was going to be pretty good last year, and that obviously didn't turn out to be the case. And this year they appear to be better. So what is the difference this year to last year?
I think it's kind of, they're not that good. They haven't played good teams yet. And the one good team they played was Iowa State, and they got clocked. It's a massive rebuild here. Jed Fish took their 10 best players up to Washington, and what looked like it was going to be really good Arizona football for a few years obviously didn't happen, and they're filling in with transfers. And, tomorrow will be the first time Arizona's really faced it other than a road game with Iowa State. We'll see if all these transfers are good. And it's not like they're really highly rated transfers. They're from Portland State and Mercyhurst and Albany State. So, talk about the jury being out. It's really out on Arizona.
Is there faith that Brent Brennan is the right guy, or is the jury still out there as well?
Nicest guy in the world. You couldn't get a better human being than Brent Brennan. But he's not your typical head football coach. Like you look at Sataki and go, yeah, football coach. You look at Kyle Whittingham and go, football coach. Brennan just looks like a guy, you see working in a bank. And but he succeeded at San Jose State. Had some pretty good teams there. And I would really love to see him succeed just because he's such a good man and surrounded himself with with coaches of similar character. And but it's going to be a struggle because they just don't have the personnel yet. Them had time to rebuild from Jed Fish, taking all their players.
The Pac-12 falling apart was just wild, but it seemed like Arizona was. I don't know if they wanted to go to the Big 12, but it seemed like they were one of the universities that was perfectly fine with that option. And now that we're a year and a half in, and you can include, certainly basketball in this, is the university or the fans, are they happy with the new league and how it's working?
I thought they were crushed because for 40 years they had those wonderful rivalries where you could remember all the games against. They had basketball rivalry with UCLA that you couldn't top, and they were competitive in football because the Pac-12 wasn't a real good football league. So it's like the Big 12 is hard to get used to because there's no superpower and in all the minor sports, whereas the Pac-12 was superstar in all the minor sports, the Big 12 doesn't seem to be that way. So it's been a hard adjustment. I think that's why their attendance hasn't picked up in football, just because you don't even know the name of the head coaches coming in, whereas in the Pac-12 you know everybody.
Greg, you bring up an interesting point with the football team and expectation because they're 4-1 now, which is nice, but as you mentioned, they haven't really played the most difficult teams in the Pac-12 or non-conference play. If they were to miss a bowl game, they would really have to collapse down the stretch, but you look at their schedule with BYU and Houston, Colorado, we don't know, Kansas, so-so, Cincinnati looks pretty good, Baylor and Arizona State are pretty good. It's going to feel really bad if they miss a bowl game, even though it might just be the way the schedule laid out for them. Is a bowl game good enough? Is that a successful season from here on out, even if they only get 2 more victories?
It would be. I think it really would be because last year they were just really bad. They weren't competitive, and then ASU just embarrassed them. And it's like the Utah-BYU game. The ASU game it'll spin off of that, and if they get blown out by ASU again, even if they go 6-6 and get to a bowl game, that I don't think a lot of people will look at it as successful because they're only 2 years away from going 10-3 and beating Oklahoma in the Alamo Bowl. So the expectations were so high, and then they just immediately got put down because of the coaching change. And I think a 6-6 season in a bowl game would be fine as long as ASU just doesn't embarrass them.
I'm a little grumpy that Utah and BYU do not play in the last week of the season. I think that's, rivalry week. That's where it should be played if they're in the same league. Yep. And the Big 12 has moved them into the middle of the year. They have not done the same with Arizona State and Arizona. Is there a reason for that?
Oh, man, if they did that, there would be a there would be an outcry because that's been the last game since like 1935. And when I saw the BYU-Utah game played, next week?
Mm-hmm.
Because I grew up in Utah, and I just couldn't believe that game is hidden away in mid-October. Maybe the commissioner isn't as sharp as he should be on some of the things, but, man, Utah-BYU, to me, that's one of the 7 or 8 best rivalries in college football.
Greg, thank you for jumping on with us. We appreciate it. Enjoy the game. Stay dry down there. Huh?
Thanks, Greg.
Thank you, guys.
It's Greg Hansen, columnist for the Arizona Daily Star.
We've talked about this with head coaches before. We brought up, speaking of Arizona, Jeff Hornacek. His first year with the Suns, they won way more games than expected. He set up this high standard, and then he couldn't meet it because he actually had a bad basketball team and always had a bad basketball team, and they fired him for it.
Mm-hmm.
Winning your 4 of your first 5 games like Arizona has to set this expectation of maybe they're good. And remember, early in the season, they beat Kansas State, and we didn't know. We kind of knew.
Yeah.
But Kansas State wasn't a true disaster yet, the way it seems like they're trending in that direction. And you start to build up like Arizona's good. Noah Fafita's back. And then, if they go, what would that be, 1-6 the rest of the season, which I think is very much on the table, you're going to think like Brent Brennan has lost control. And it's like, no, I just think that was the layout of how the schedule broke.
See, I think well, let me put it this way. You mentioned bowl eligible or whatever. What is the one requirement for an expectation? There's one thing that has to be a factor to have an expectation.
Well, I think it's a fan base, but
it's somebody that has to have the expectation.
Somebody cares.
So there's probably 8 people that have that expectation, Ben, but not nearly enough to make an impact. I bring that up because it's interesting to talk to Greg about how there's no support for the football team at Arizona still.
Mm-hmm.
And will be the reason why Arizona football will not be a thing in the Big 12. And that was probably predictable. I mean, Jed Fish, we'll see if he can do it at Washington, but he had it figured out for a minute at Arizona. That was the exception, not the rule.
Yeah.
And Rich Rod had one good year and a couple of decent ones, but it's a basketball school. It's going to be run like a basketball school. And that's what I was trying to get at with Greg when I asked him about if they're happy to be in a different league, because that was the thing. Arizona State wanted to stay in the Pac leftover, and Arizona wanted to go because they wanted to be in that great basketball league.
I expected BYU to win this game. After talking to Greg, I expect BYU to win this game relatively easily. I thought maybe 24-21, which is similar. I think that's the same score they had against Colorado. And now I'm thinking it might be even more difficult for Arizona to move the ball. I'm glad it's not 7 inches of rain.
No.
I mean, just for the people of Arizona.
I mean, 1 to 2 is still a ton for Tucson.
It's a lot for anywhere, but
but
7's crazy.
Crazy.
Yeah.
That whole town would be underwater.
Yep.
All right, stay tuned. We wrap up the show. Coming up next, Jake and Ben, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Let's go! Complete game coverage of the Cougars is right here on the KSL Sports Zone. The Cougars head to Tucson for a battle against the Arizona Wildcats. Your home for the best coverage of Cougar football is right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. You're listening to Jake Scott and Ben Anderson on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Woo!
Two niggas on the airways, talking sports. They got it made Jake's and also loves his tie-dye. Ben's got style with his scarf. Oh my.
Jake and Ben, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Jake Scott, Ben Anderson. Want to remind you can nominate the youth sports volunteer for the Hercules Hero of the Week. Submit your nomination at kslsports.com/contest and listen every Thursday to JJ and Alex for the winner. Help us celebrate the efforts of those volunteers making an impact with the Hercules Hero of the Week, sponsored by Hercules First Federal Credit Union and Beehive Meals.
I just watched the scene we were talking about. It's a real life lesson.
Oh, in Knocked Up? The movie Knocked Up? Did I tell you the last time I watched that?
I haven't seen it for a very long time, but no, when did you see it?
Okay, so we had my 4-year-old in 2021, and there were still pandemic restrictions on the hospital. So we weren't allowed to have any visitors. So in the 2 days that we were in the hospital following the birth, it was just sitting there. Sitting there, and my wife recovering and, dealing with the baby. So I went home to grab DVDs.
Okay.
And we don't have very many DVDs.
Right.
But it was an old TV at the hospital, and we needed DVDs. So I saw my DVD version of Knocked Up, and I thought that would be really funny to watch in the hospital right after having a child.
Having a baby.
And it was pretty funny, except for you forget, and this is a weird thing, but you forget how lewd that movie is, and then the nurses would come in and be like, oh, that was not.
Now, if you've met nurses, and Christian's wife can preach for this, they're some of the most shocking people on the planet because they deal with the most shocking people on the planet. They deal with people at their worst or most vulnerable, so they've seen a lot.
But yeah, that was
the word I was looking for.
That was the last time I watched that. Because there's some irony here.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
that is a funny movie. We were talking off the air. This is 40. The sequel to it is not.
Correct.
Knocked Up is really funny. The sequel is not.
Yeah.
In fact, what's his name lost his fastball for sure.
Judd Apatow?
Yeah.
Big time. Yeah. He had a moment, which is fine. But comedy should rot. Comedy, unless you are Mel Brooks.
Right, who seems to
have it.
Yeah, no matter what. I mean, writing Broadway musicals or...
Yeah,
okay. Like the Farrelly brothers had a great run. Yeah. They haven't made anything good in a long time.
And that's fine. You can go away.
But by the time they got to the Greg Kinnear Siamese twin one, it was so over.
Like you said, no longer had their fastball.
So over. Let's cast Cher.
Cher had a fastball for a while, too. Also probably lost it.
She still had the music thing to lean on.
What You Got Wednesday washed Hollywood members.
Okay.
The most washed who
Not
are somehow
directors
sticking
necessarily,
around.
But
people in Hollywood in general.
Oh, Adam Sandler would be the automatic number one pick, right?
See, I think he still has a fastball.
I think
his changes. I think he might be moving to the bullpen, but I'm not sure he's a starter anymore.
What was his last fastball?
Like Uncut Gems is beloved.
Okay, we're talking about comedy.
Okay, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm just saying he's moving to the bullpen. Like he's changing his game up a little bit.
He made one movie 10 years ago. Is not changed. Did you see the new Happy Gilmore?
I fell asleep.
It was the worst thing that has ever happened to cinema.
He's in the new George Clooney movie that people think is at least there was some talk that he might get nominated for an Oscar for. So we'll see.
South Park made a joke about him being washed up like 15 years ago in the Osimo episode.
Mm-hmm.
Pre-Uncut Gems.
Pre-Uncut Gems, which did not bring his career back.
He's always had that ability to change it up.
It's like Jim Carrey doing the eternal spotless whatever.
Well, that movie rules.
Does not mean that he hasn't lost his
But you're right, Jim Carrey. But we don't see Jim Carrey anymore. The way we see Adam Sandler, certainly.
Yeah, Jim gave it up. Thank God.
He knew. He knew the end had come.
I don't need Ace Ventura 12.
What is the last thing Jim Carrey did?
Sonic.
And he's funny in it. He's actually great in Sonic, yeah. So maybe he does still have it. Maybe there are fewer washed celebrities than I thought.
Okay, this is a random conversation. Jim Carrey should have been good as the Riddler, but was terrible.
I thought he was funny.
Well, but that's the thing. Is it that movie bringing it down? Because Val Kilmer should have been a good Batman, too. And maybe he was, or not Val Kilmer. Who am I thinking of?
No, you're right.
Val Kilmer.
Val in that
he
one.
should have been a good Batman, but that movie was just so bad.
It's a very funny 90s movie. Like, that's better than Hook that you drafted.
No way.
Infinitely more rewatchable.
Thank you, Christian.
Infinitely more rewatchable. Hook is so long and boring.
Tommy Lee Jones is terrible.
He is terrible, and I love Tommy Lee Jones, and he's so bad.
But everyone's bad in Hook also.
What's his name? The Thank You for Smoking guy was a better Two-Face.
Even that movie does not hold up super well.
What, the Thank You for Smoking?
Dark Knight.
Oh, really? What doesn't hold up?
Him specifically. What is his name?
Aaron Eckhart.
Aaron Eckhart.
He's a local guy, isn't he?
Yeah, well, he's got Utah ties. The whole scene of like him not recognizing the Joker in the nurse costume because Joker's got he's got a mask. He's got the not even the COVID mask on, but the nurse breathing mask. There's some holes in that movie. It doesn't quite age as well as I'd want it to. And the third one's not good.
Well, the third one, I saw it once, and I thought, I'm never seeing this
Yeah.
again.
This is every time I say this about The Dark Knight, I get a million tweets, so I know it's going to come for me.
I like The Dark Knight. I think
No,
you're
it's fine. It's absolutely fine.
I think you are up in the night.
I think Batman
and about
Begins is
Hook,
better.
too.
Nobody likes Hook.
Everybody likes Hook.
No. Who won the draft?
I don't know.
I think Ben swept, actually.
Yeah, I swept again.
He knew that.
Yeah.
He knew the answer.
Of course you did.
Yeah, I didn't ask that question, putting myself in a vulnerable position.
Hansen Scott here coming up next.
Thanks, Christian.
We'll talk to you on Monday, 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone.